We turn now to youth unemployment. Before Christmas, Shane Jones was suggesting his nephews in Northland need to get off their nono bum. Today, the government tried a little more finesse in their encouragement. Their He Poutama Rangatahi initiative was set up by the previous government to target youth unemployment in the regions. The new government is backing it by injecting $13 million into it. I spoke to Employment Minister Willie Jackson while he was visiting a youth employment initiative in West Auckland called Kiwi Can Do. Where's the money going, I asked him.
It's been put up to assist communities and particularly organisations who know they can help with the needs at the moment. You know, people who are not in employment, education and training. The focus is the regions at the moment, John. That's the focus where, you know, and we're only scraping the surface because, you know, thousands of needs are out here in the West Aucklands and in the South Aucklands. But we have to make we have to make an attempt to support what's happening in our communities. Otherwise, the communities have been forgotten, and the National Party didn't do anything, and we want to do something, and we treat employment. This is not just about unemployment, this is about employment, and at the end of the day, we want to see young people being resourced, supported, and in meaningful and in dignified jobs. And so I'm really pleased that the 13 million is a start. It's a start in terms of what we want to do in the employment space.
You talk about dignity and the dignity of labour and the sense of purpose and self-worth that you have if you have a job, if you get up in the morning and go to work. How do you impart that message to the sorts of kids that Shane Jones was talking about in the north who are disconnected even from that kind of possibility?
You support organisations who know these kids, mate. You support community groups who've been working with these kids, and you wrap services around these kids. You don't just give up on them, or you don't just say see you later if they've missed a day in terms of work. Some of these young people don't know how to work, John. They come from intergenerational unemployment. Some of them, their fathers haven't worked for the last 20 years. Well, they haven't worked for years, and then their fathers. That's what we're talking about. So there's no easy fix here, but we have to work with the people who know the people, who know these young ones, who know the families. And so we can't have a punitive approach, John. We have to be a caring government, and Prime Minister Ardern has been saying that. We want to be a government that cares, that supports. It's easy to say, it's easy to take the hard-edged approach, oh, if they don't come to work next week, or one of Shane's nephews doesn't come to work next week, well, we'll kick them off their benefit or we'll get rid of them. Shane knows that's not the way. Shane is just feeling the frustration that we all have, you know. Do we have to apply a bit of tough love sometimes? Absolutely. I have a history of tough love, John. You know, I've worked in South Auckland at the coalface. But this is about supporting groups, community organisations who know how to wrap services around young people, who know their background, who know their families, and it's also about supporting employers who are saying, you know, we can't fill the vacancies here. You know, we advertise and we don't get anyone coming in. So we're trying a twofold strategy here, and I'm really encouraged by what I'm hearing from the different communities. I intend to go on a tour from mid-February on, visiting the different townships and supporting and resourcing organisations as much as I can.
You talk about the organisations that you want to support, and you talk about the organisations who are able to work with these kids who are already one way or another connected to them. Who are they? What sort of organisations are you talking about?
Well, you know, it's not fair for me to, you know, I've got a list of organisations, and it's not fair for me to mention those organisations now, John, because the next minute those people will expect funding straight away. We've got a whole list of organisations, if you know the North and if you know the Hawke's Bay and the East Coast, who we've worked with their different people who've had a history of working with young people, Māori, women at the coalface. But I'm not going to mention any organisations now, because then I think that would compromise compromise us and also compromise some of those organisations. So I just have to be fair here. But organisations who've been working at the coalface, on top of that, later on, John, I want to set up a reference group with people from those organisations, people from the employer groups, people from the unions, ITAs. We need to have a real sensible conversation about the employment strategy in this country. We're just scratching the surface with this. This is just this is a good start, and we're scratching the surface in terms of needs in the regions. But there's 81,000 of them, and we've got a crisis happening within the whole employment argument.
Willie Jackson.